Every Tuesday, we bring you a little self-help, a little free advice, if you will. Dr. John Braccio, drjohnb.com on the web. We've been talking about marital affairs, the survival thereof, or maybe the unsalvageability of that union. We'll kind of wrap that up today with Dr. John Braccio on the what I call the What's Up Doc segment. Hey, Doc Braccio, how are you?
Never better, Mike. Always good to talk to you, my friend. And this is our third segment on affairs and their effects on relationships. And, well, we've discussed why persons have affairs. Okay, that was our first segment. Then we talked about what the person who's had it can try to do to salvage the relationship. Well, today we're discussing why the aggrieved partner chooses to stay in a relationship. Okay, and the beginning point, of course, is that the person who had the affair has remorse and wants the relationship to continue. Well, I guess the factors that really you take a look at if you're going to stay in a relationship would include factors we're going to talk about here. Are you good friends? Do you enjoy the company of each other and the sharing of lives? This is really a pretty big deal. I mean, how much do you enjoy being with the person? You know, is this a big thing? Well, if you think about it, I mean, if you're going to live a life with somebody, you want to have someone you want to share things with. You want to really enjoy being with them, waking up together, traveling together, and just leading a life together. Another is similar moral and or spiritual values. You know, if we kind of forget the philandering aspect of this, how similar are you in terms of views? How do you look at life? You know, what's right, what's wrong? What are things that really kind of come down that groove of two of you walking the life together? Do you look at things the same way from the more moral, spiritual kind of a thing? That's a big thing. And another one is, do you still have sexual attraction or sexual needs met of each partner? Because if you really don't have a sexual attraction and the partner has shown the desire, the need to go out, well, that doesn't bode well for the relationship. In spite of a person can say they have remorse for what they've done, well, this is something you have to get together, you have to talk on it. If you have it, it's really important, big factor in a relationship. And if the person is someone who doesn't need to be going out or feel the need to be with someone else, then that bodes well for the relationship and coming together. Another really major factor to be looking at is children and the impact on them. Sometimes children are left out of the equations. Obviously, if people really are having tremendous fights and battles and things, that can be destructive for kids, but never underestimate the impact of divorce on children, because it changes the whole equation. Their relationships, they all of a sudden are children of divorce. And even if 50% of the marriages fail, and many of them for good reason, many really just end because people haven't worked together, tried to work things out, and children can be the casualty. So that's another major factor in determining if you're going to stay in a relationship, you know, when there's been philandering or running around. So never underestimate that, and certainly that has to be a key factor. Another thing are common interest in joint activities. Do you share? Do you do things together? It doesn't mean that partners do not have their own friends and they do different things. And no, that's true. But do they have common interests, joint activities? You know, what do they do together? What are their interests? Do they lead separate lives like two ships out on voyages in different directions? Well, they have to. These are things that have to be looked at too if there's going to be a coming together and staying together and being together. And another major thing that is not always talked about but very, very critical is our financial considerations. You know, where does the couple, where do they stand from a financial point of view? You know, are they in great debt? Okay, are they in good financial shape? What are the circumstances? Because finances are a pretty critical situation. Before you're divorcing or you are ending a relationship, you have to really take that into account also. And then future joint dreams and goals. I mean, what the partners? I mean, why are they together? What do they look to in the future? What dreams do they have? And this is the time when in a difficult situation, like when there has been running around or philandering, whatever you might want to call it, that the couple, if they're going to stay together, they determine, what dreams do they have together? What goals? Why are they together? What is the purpose? What do they want? And that's a big deal. And then another one that's really very, very critical, Mike, is the probability or the belief the spouse has that the partner is not going to run around again. This becomes a big thing, because if you're going to lead a life checking every day the person's phone, following them around, wondering who they're with, then probability
that's going to be tough.
No, that's right. And some people can never get over that. And if so, that certainly ends the relationship. But if you have to put that in the mix, if you can come to the belief that it's not going to happen again, you believe the person and you begin working in that direction, then there's a good chance the relationship's going to work. But Mike, I can guarantee you, when people are all of a sudden questioning and looking at, I want to see where you've been, what are you doing, why do you have that friend, why do you talk to this person, that tends to be signs that the person is never going to get over it, and it's not going to end well, okay? And then another one is emotional needs. I mean, how are your emotional needs met? I mean, in this relationship, what's happening to you emotionally? Do you feel good? Do you feel connected? And these are situations that if you don't, these are things you really have to be, working on and sorting out. And if they haven't been met, maybe things can be met, because there's nothing to say that even in horrible situations and trauma within the relationships, the things really can't be better in terms of moving forward. And then another one that is important is a willingness of the person who has done the philandering to take part in counseling. This can be an important thing. If a person says, I don't want to deal with yesterday, I only want to deal with today, there's no need to look into this. Well, it's not a good attitude, and that's really not going to bode well. So there really is a need to sort out what's happened, really put everything together, and a willingness to really talk about things. And as need be, a counselor can be helpful. So that's another area that if a person is willing to do that and they do it, it can be very helpful. And then I leave till last, really the most important thing: is there a strong bond of love? Is there that ingredient, the thing that really draws the two people together in a really important way? And if that's intact, if that's in place, then there's really a good chance that the relationship, can continue. So these are the things that if a person really who's had the affair wants things to work, and the person who's the partner decides that they're going to stay in the relationship, what we've been talking about here today are really the critical factors in terms of what has to happen in that person's outlook and what has to happen with the person they're with. But again, this can all be positive. Positive can come from this if we're looking at, sharing goals, putting things together, that you're going to determine the intimacy the two of you can have, if you're going to be looking for future joint goals and dreams, and you can learn to trust each other and have emotional needs met and a willingness to really do counseling. I mean, good things can happen. There can be a very strong addition to the relationship and make it even better. How does that sound? Take negativity and turn it into something positive.
Seems like a tough row to hoe, as my dad would say. It's an uphill battle, it seems, but it
can have a good ending, Mike. That's really the important thing.
And there's the hope from Dr. John Braccio. Regional Psychological Services, East Lansing, drjohnb.com on the web, and get here every Tuesday at 7:10 with a little free advice, a little free counseling, if you will. When to stay after an affair. Doc, we're up on time as usual. It goes so fast, but we appreciate your time this morning, and thank you so much.
Always a pleasure, my friend. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 1320 WILS.